So let me share my screen with you and just get this. And then you'll be able to, we'll get started on it. Okay. I hope everyone can see that. Somehow send a message to Kanat or get some word to me somehow if you cannot see this. Let me give a first introduction here to who I am and why I'm the one talking to you. My name is Robert Dobler. I am the General Director of the Center for Preparatory Studies at Nazarbayev University. I have had over 16 years of international educational experience. I've been in at least 7 different countries doing this. I've been at Nazarbayev University for over 6 years now. Not always in the Center for Preparatory Studies, but most of that time I've been here. I have a PhD in Central Asian Studies, and I have a multiple disciplinary educational background. I've been in hard sciences. I've also been in some of the social sciences. And I did one of my master's degrees in Taiwan. So I have a bit of experience studying in a different culture and working that way. Okay, let's get started then. A little bit about me. So I want to ask you, and I wish we were in an opportunity where I could get answers and interact with you. But what I would like is to take a look at these pictures and tell me what do you think? What would picture university success? We have over here in the upper left, students who are diligently studying in a large classroom. We have here in the center, top center, people hanging out, maybe studying, maybe just doing some fun things with friends. We have perhaps over here, success would be a good dorm life. You have a good roommate. Or just below that, maybe you're thinking of different kinds of clubs, small groups that maybe interact, study groups, things like that. And then in the center, some of you might be thinking, well, for me, university, what I really want to do is I want to play sports. I want to have a good time in that way. And for some of you over here at the bottom left, it's like, I just want to go have a party with a number of friends, okay? So success can be pictured in different ways. What does university success, what is it going to be for you? Is it getting good grades? Is that what is your primary goal? Or is it having a good time? As I mentioned, sports and clubs. Making friends, maybe. Finding a girlfriend, finding a boyfriend. Those are some things people are kind of looking forward to at university. Getting out of the small town, going over to university and meeting new people. Maybe success will be defined as the way getting in to study the major you want. I want to go into engineering, I want to do that. Or maybe it's something else that we really don't even know. All right. So if you're going to be successful, you have to have a goal, or otherwise you don't know if you've been successful, if you don't have some kind of goal. So let's think about some of the things that probably are more standard for going to university. You probably want to think of university, I want to have a good job, I want to have a good career when I finish with the university. So that's a goal. Maybe your goal is just simply, I'm going to go to university, I'm going to make my parents proud that I went there, that I'm accomplished. For some people, honestly, going to university really just means having some fun. And for others, it might be, well, I'm very ambitious, I'm looking ahead to graduate school, and then I want to get a good job, or then I want to have a good career. So you're putting everything off into graduate school issues. So there's a number of goals that a person could have that university could do for them. But we want to see what would be the good, I have trouble with this, good, a good goal that makes it. All right, just have to do it this way. So let's look at, or think about a little bit, why should you go to university? What is a proper goal? What is a proper idea that would be beneficial in going to university? Well, I would suggest that the number one thing that you need to do or accomplish in a university is to become mature. Yeah, I know that when I was 16 and 17, I thought I was pretty mature. I thought that I knew a lot of things, but there's a lot still left to be learned, and there's a lot of maturing, just having experiences that it'll be beneficial. So going to university will do that. It'll help you mentally. You'll grow in that way. You'll learn things. You'll be able to do things, but it also helps you grow emotionally. Some of those friendships won't last. Some of those friendships will be great. Some of, there's a lot of stuff that's going on, the pressure and those kind of things. It's a opportunity in university to mature. But it also, you should go to university really to learn how to think. You know how to think, but maybe, you want to take that to another level. So maturity, being able to think, and really it's to prepare you for life. There are other ways to prepare for life, but this is one pathway that will set you in a different goal, different area, but you need to do the right things in the university in order to be successful at the university. So maturing will do that. Physically will happen anyways. But in order to learn to think are the important parts of why you will need to go, or you should make that a goal for university. Albert Einstein had this quote: "The value of a university education is not the learning of many facts, but of training the mind to think." So university is going to be a little different from an educational point of view than you've had in high school. We're looking not to just give you a bunch of information, but really to train you and help you learn how to think. So successful university students will have intelligence, certainly. They need to have some kind of character, and they need to have skills. And here's a list of some of the things that really make a successful university student. If you're planning on coming to Nazarbayev University or studying at a university that uses English language skills is going to be one of the primary things you need. Mathematical reasoning and that ability is also very high. That's, in the United States, the highest predictor of a successful university student is how much math they took in high school. It just seems to show that they're able to go on and do things. So mathematical reasoning is very important. And then you can see the other ones there too. Being organized, being inquisitive, having leadership, creativity, self-discipline is very important. Integrity also. So there are a number of skills there that a person needs to have in order to be a successful university student. But if you had all those things, maybe you wouldn't need to go to university. So what do you need to bring to be successful? Well, if you're going to be successful at the university, you need to have a good work ethic. You need to be motivated, and you need to have an attitude to learn. Now that might seem obvious, but there are a number of students we get who will come here and think, oh, I already did that. I already know how to do that. And in the process, they don't have the attitude that they can learn from this, even if they've done that kind of paper before, even if they've done that sort of experiment before. So the important thing is here to realize that you're here, there's something to learn from it, and to be willing to learn. High academic English abilities, I've already mentioned, that's an important part, especially if you're coming to a university like NU, where we're going to use English in all of the classes. And I also mentioned mathematical reasoning ability. Those are very important. Even if you say, well, mathematics is not my thing, I'm going to go into literature, I'm going to go into anthropology, you still need to have a knowledge of statistics. You still need to take some mathematics in order to be able to do university study. So it's important to have an ability in there, even if it's not your primary one. You need to come to university with confidence and an intellectual curiosity. So in order to do well, it kind of relates to the attitude to learn, you need to be able to have confidence in yourself and be able to be interested in a number of different topics and subjects. And it's a good idea to have some kind of habits of self-discipline. You may not be totally disciplined. Nobody really probably gets that far, but you need to have something in order to be successful at the university. And then it's important to have moral character and integrity. One of the things that we stress very much at NU is the integrity, academic integrity, malpractice, cheating, plagiarism. You've probably heard of these things before. That's important that you don't go down that way, that you avoid those kind of problems. And so having that moral character is an important part of being a good student. Okay, I want to talk a little bit why you would need some of those things by showing how university study is different from the study that you've done in high school up to this point. If we look at secondary education, it's primarily a passive learning. And what do I mean by that? I mean that the student basically is in the classroom and the teacher tells him things, tells her things, and you need to learn whatever the teacher says. In the university, we expect you to be able to be an independent learner. You need to be able to read on your own and learn, okay? You need to be able to understand what you're doing without always being told and explained every little detail. In the secondary school, in your high school, you're going to be assessed by how well you learned what the teacher told you. So it values memorizing facts, okay? In university education, we do need to memorize some facts. We do have the normal kinds of tests, but we also value creativity a lot. And so if you are a creative person, this is where you can really excel. You maybe have been not allowed to do too much up to this point, but in university, we want you to be creative. We value it, and tests will be scored higher with the greater creativity you have. Secondary education, generally there's only one correct answer. You memorize the fact, they ask you the question, you told them the fact, and so that's the answer. In university education, yes, there are some that there's one answer, but we don't depend on just having an answer because I told you so. We want an answer based on your evidence and on your ability to defend your position. So we can accept different answers as long as you can explain why that answer is a good answer. Now, maybe if your explanation isn't so great, we'll give you some credit, but it helps you learn in order to find out how to be more creative, how to be able to understand it better and explain your answer better. And you might need to just do simply more research and understanding of what the topic is. In secondary education, you have close supervision. Your teacher is there. For some of you, you maybe are living in a dormitory situation and somebody tells you when to get up, somebody tells you when to go to bed, somebody tells you when to eat. There's a lot of supervision that you would have. But in a university setting, there's not that person there to get you up in the morning. It's not that person to tell you, turn out the lights, stop looking at video games. There's not a person there that says, eat a good meal. It requires your discipline. You need to be self-disciplined to get up for that early morning class. You need to put away the video games or put away talking with friends late into the night so that you're ready for the next day. It requires that you are self-disciplined. And so similar to close supervision, the secondary education is a teacher-led. Teacher tells you what to study, tells you what to do, and then you're required to do that. In a university setting, it's much more student-led, okay? So we have, in our courses, there's tutorials where a student meets with a teacher and they decide what needs to be studied, what needs to be worked. And it's the student saying, well, I need work in this area or I need work in that area. So you need to reflect on what you need, and then it's led by you to look for that information. So well, the secondary education, there's nothing wrong with it. It's good, but what we have in the university education setting is different. And so some people can make that transition easily, and some people will struggle with it more. So kind of getting to what we really want to talk about here today, and that's how can you prepare right now for university success? What can you do to be prepared? Well, I would think the most important thing is that you learn to be disciplined, okay? That self-discipline that I was just talking about, that is the important key. And so how do you go about doing that? You can't just wake up some morning and say, I'm going to be disciplined. I'm going to now do everything on time. I'm going to be, very diligent in all of my work. So you need to start with small things to build up your discipline. So you've got a test coming in 3 days. You need to study for it. You don't have to study 3 hours today, but if you don't feel like studying, you need to study some. So study when you don't want to study. Put in some time, maybe 15 minutes. And maybe the next day you put in a little bit more. Maybe next week you develop a habit so that you study even when you don't want to study. I like this quote from Thomas Huxley. He said, the most valuable result of all education is the ability to make yourself do the things that you have to do when it ought to be done, whether you like it or not. He went on to say that this is probably the first lesson that everybody should learn, but it's usually the last lesson that people learn. Another way to be disciplined is to be truthful, even when it may be embarrassing to you, when it might cost you something, when it might be hurt, when it might hurt you. Develop the habit of being truthful. That's something that will be a very valuable lesson for you beyond university life, but you need to have that to be a good, successful student in university. You need to be truthful. Read some more, and read a lot. You need to be able to read and understand different subjects, not just physics because that's what you've been studying, physics and math, or not just humanities because that's the only thing you really like. You need to read outside of the field that you have been reading or studying. And if you're coming to NU, or if you're going to a university, or if you're going abroad where it's going to use English, you need to read and do a lot of that in English itself. Build your vocabulary, build your understanding of the grammar, so that it becomes more and more natural for you, okay? So those are the important part of getting disciplined. Another aspect of discipline, and which will help you in university, is to learn mathematics. More than you probably think you need, more than you probably want to, at least some of you. Some of you, you're going to go into engineering, or you're going to go into physics or mathematics, and so math, maybe you enjoy that, and that's good. But for many people, mathematics is a little bit of a downfall, or a little bit of a problem for them. So be disciplined and put your time into learning mathematics before you come to university. It'll make university life easier for you. Another way to become disciplined is to volunteer for things. Volunteer to do work outside of your school. In some areas or other areas, at some club or whatever, volunteer. Work hard at everything you do. Put your heart into it, and accept responsibilities. That will help you grow as a person. It'll help you be disciplined, It'll develop leadership skills. All of those things are things that will be very useful to you when you come to university. Some more ideas of how to prepare for university. You should ask. You should ask parents. You should ask your teachers. Ask friends that are already at university what they would do. So have an open mind. Be listening. Be willing to make changes in order for you to be prepared. You can also get information. There are universities. You can go to their web pages, look at what they're doing, how they're doing things, what they're going to teach, and the whole atmosphere of the university. Get as much information as you can. We would certainly invite you to NU, to our open house. I know right now we're in lockdown, and so there's not going to be a physical open house anytime soon where you can come on campus, but if that's possible, sometime in the future, come on campus, visit, take a look at it, talk to professors, talk to different ones. That's a good way to sort of see. Go to other universities' open houses so that you look at that, so that you choose a university that suits you, that has the major you want, that has the curriculum that you need, that fulfills the goals that you have. If you want to have a lot of fun at university, probably don't come to NU, because we do require a lot of work as students. There can be fun. There's dance clubs, there's cinema clubs, and there's things that the kids do that are a lot of fun. But if that's your goal, you probably don't want to come here, because you're not going to be able to spend all of your time doing that. We do put a heavy academic load on people. And you need to have a positive attitude. Be patient. Know that good things are going to take a while before you can really achieve them. You're not going to be prepared in a day or a week. It's something that you've been doing for 14, 15, 16 years. And it's something you need to continue to do. But here's another idea how you can prepare for the university, and that's consider applying to our NUFIP program. That's the Nazarbayev University Foundation Year program. And in that year, we help students learn all of these things. You may be skilled in some areas, you may be ready in some areas, but you may not be ready in all areas. We will help you. We will study academic English so that you're prepared and you build up your vocabulary, you build up your ability to write and to do research. We can review for some, for others it's a preparation for university math, and we'll do it in English. So if you've been studying and your math is pretty good, but it's been in Russian or it's been in Kazakh, that could be a problem as far as maybe not knowing the vocabulary and holds people back, at least for a half a semester or something like that. I was talking to a student about a year ago. He was quite good in mathematics, but he did poorly on his first couple exams. And I was asking him why, because I was surprised. And he said, well, he didn't know the vocabulary. So this is something that you can get if you come to NUFIP. You can go through mathematics in English and you'll be ready for the university. We also will work with you in developing character and your organizational skills, helping you to understand what academic integrity is, when something is legal to do, when something is not legal to do. We'll help you with time management. We'll help you with how to organize, how to prioritize, how to set goals that are meaningful and realistic. We'll learn and practice academic integrity every day as you go through that. And it really is a learning time. If you do something that breaks academic integrity as an undergraduate, you'll get a severe penalty. Maybe even if it's bad enough, you can be dismissed, expelled from the university. Foundation will help you learn those things, and the penalties are not so great. And if you come, you'll get to understand what the university is about. It gives you a chance to mature, and it builds your confidence. So these are some of the things that we would help you to do. Those other ideas are there as far as what you can do in making sure that you have the skills and the requirements necessary in order to have not only a successful university life, but a fun one too. It can be fun, but you have to make sure you're ready for it academically to make sure you have fun. That's all I've got for you today. You can check out our webpage or Instagram. You probably already know about them. We'll probably have some other sessions coming up. One of these days, there might be a session more about NewFIP itself to give you more information about that. If you have any questions, I'm sure you know how to get in touch with the people that are here, and they can answer your questions. If you want to send something specifically to me, they'll pass it on. That's all I have today. I'd love to be able to take questions and do that, but there's just so many people that it's probably not feasible to do it that way. So thank you all for participating. Wish you the very best and good afternoon. So thank you. Kanati, is there anything you want to add before everybody goes?
Hi, Robert, again. I don't think so, because I already mentioned that we will have some other sessions which might be interesting for them. We are also planning to have a live session with our primer student, Alina. She will be available on August 3rd. So we will post one more information on our Instagram account. So please join us, and then we will email everyone all other information and details. Great,
thank you. And I see people are sending thank yous by chats. Thank you, thanks for joining us. We'll look through those. I appreciate that. Appreciate you being here. Didn't want to make this too long today, so that's all I've got. I'm gonna close it off. Is that all right, Kanat? Thank you.